God, we hope you don't mind, but we would like to talk to you. There are some things we need to straighten out. It's about these Christians. They claim to be from your nation, but man, you should see the things they do.
Hello, everybody. My name is Shane Nordy, coming to you live today on our brand new podcast that we're going to be releasing called Church of the People, where we will be discussing about Church of the People for Creator Mother Earth. It is an earth-based sacrament church that was founded in 2019 and has had continual efforts to pursuing to help people reconnect, release, grow, and understand who they are on this earth while they still can. Thank you for tuning in today. It is lovely to be on here today. My discussion today is basically going to be about how Creator Mother Earth got me here, because this whole journey was started out through finding Creator and Mother Earth, and so I'll be sharing that today on this topic of Creator and Mother Earth got me here. Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Shane Nordy. I am coming from Southern California. I am enrolled in the Morongo Band of Mission Indians up towards Palm Springs Desert area, but I am also part of the La Jolla Band of Indians, which is also resides in Southern California area, heading towards San Diego and further on down south. But basically what I wanted to discuss today was how the finding of this church that led me to Creator and Mother Earth and the understanding of earth-based medicines, plants, and my connection to Creator and Mother Earth and all the things that entail Creator and Mother Earth. So long story short, I founded this church in 2019 following the death of my father. I needed to have a ceremony, and within that ceremony I saw beautiful results of understanding, releasing pain, and growing and understanding in a more ceremonial based understanding and teaching and setting. And so from there I decided that I wanted to grow a church because down here in Southern California on a lot of the reservations, a lot of the culture and ceremonies were not necessarily preserved or taught or understood just due to the process of boarding school area, the churches, and the destruction of our way of life. And so it is an honor to be able to be taking this medicine and to be able to see the healing results of these medicines and the true connecting to the teachings of the greater power, what some people call God, people call Allah, people have different names for Creator and Mother Earth. And so basically I wanted to just give a brief description and talk of my experience of seeing the fact that Creator and Mother Earth are connected through these medicines, these earth-based sacraments such as psilocybin mushrooms. And that is how I started my journey, was basically, wanting to just play football and use that as a way to help my community. But before going into football and all that understanding, I grew up heavily with a belief in God and an understanding in God. And on the reservations, there's a lot of Christian and Catholic people that grew up and were raised, whether they were part of the boarding school or just were taught it as they were growing up. And myself, I attended, Catholic school, catechism, did my first Holy Communion, used to do confession and go to church and do all the things of that nature. And then after going through the Catholic style system of their education of God, supposedly, I ended up going to Christian school. And from there, then I ended up following Christian doctrines and understandings and teachings and foundations of what makes a Christian who they are. And in that midst of education, both educations, I necessarily never found a true root or a connection to God. Like I always felt like I never knew God, as far as like I couldn't communicate, or I would read Bible, I'd read passages, I'd read scriptures, and none of it would necessarily make sense, as far as being able to learn something. Like if someone were to give you instructions or a manual and they were to describe to you how to build something or how to make something, most people can read that and understand that and put that together as far as following the instructions of how to do something and how to understand something. And excuse me, in that time, I just never felt more anything connected to God as much as I read the Bible, as much Bible study as I went to, as much catechism, as much confessions, as much, Bible nights, Bible events, church events, just worshiping, Sunday worship, revival, all the things that come into play with Catholics and Christians' way of life with God. I just never felt connected. So growing up, I kind of put God off to the side. I was telling myself that I was going to be an atheist, that, there's no real proof of God, and God doesn't exist, and there's no way that there could be a God if all this stuff is happening and all this chaos and all the things going on. How could the God that I read in this Bible and the one that I heard be preached about so much, how could all this stuff be happening, and how could God be here allowing all his children to act this way? So I kind of went off in my own, just growing up, and not necessarily having God as the forefront. God was always in the back of my mind, an understanding of that I knew, but not quite fully understood. So I didn't want to, assume that I knew or put on something that I couldn't necessarily find proof of. And so I just went on about my life, continually, just doing what I had to do, going to school, trying for football, and continue to pursue that life of football. And inside me, I always knew that, there was a God. Like, if this makes sense to anybody who believes in God and has a faith, it felt like no matter, even though I had all those issues as far as not having a connection through Catholicism or Christianity, something in me still was like, there is a greater power. There is something that is keeping things in a good way as far as creation and making things, as beautiful and complex as they are. There is something out there. So I kind of held that within me and always kind of talked to myself as if, I was going to pray, praying to God and just letting God know, Creator, that I'm here and I still believe in him. It's just that I don't understand, how to go about myself as a human to communicate versus, like, if I want to talk to someone, I can go talk to them. I can say, hey, I can go shake their hand. I can offer help, whatever it may be. And so I kind of just kept going through life and deciding that I'm going to play football. And so I started to kind of get myself in gear and really work out and, start preparing for all the things that were necessary to try to transfer to Division One and play Division One. And in the midst of all that, I met somebody who was just discussing with me of how, mushrooms have made their prayers feel very real and very obtainable, as if they're being heard or they're being listened to. And so, growing up all my life, I wanted to do that. I wanted to talk to God and communicate with God and let God know that I believe in God and I worship God, and God is everything to me. And so I was like, maybe it's time to do this. And so in that time of, getting some earth medicine, I took that medicine, and from there I was blown back into, I always say, my awakening again of understanding my true roots and identity of who I was, and who I am, as far as being an indigenous person and coming from the turmoil of being an indigenous person, all the way from war to the battles that we had to fight, whether it was physical or spiritual, the deliberate erasure of our culture, of our ceremonies and our connection and our way of understanding of what people say to God and the earth. And to me, it kind of was a good feeling, because I always kind of grew up wishing that I knew about my culture or knew about ceremony and the teachings of God, and knowing that our people knew about God, it just wasn't in that understanding. It was the way that God talked to us here, the way that God taught us how to be on the earth, the way to communicate and take care of things here, and how to be in our role, our purpose here is the people, and so it was an overwhelming feeling. I felt like I wanted to tell the whole world, like, God's real, God exists and God is here. And at first I was kind of like, whoa, like, this doesn't make sense to a lot of people, especially considering that I had to take, some medicine for it to happen. And so then in that moment, I just decided to embrace God fully and take God on as a whole, beyond Christianity and Catholicism, but embracing God as everything, God as one, and understanding that all creation is tied into God and creation, and understanding and learning and teaching, good and bad. So from that, in my journey, I started to just travel around the country, defending with other Native brothers and sisters, and understanding, the concepts of what it means to be a modern Native today, a Native American, an indigenous person, the people, defending the earth and going against corporations and people that destroy the earth, and people that deliberately put families and our systems of life at risk, and don't care no more mere than making money off of us, and seeing how times have changed from the wars that we fought back in the 1800s to the wars that we're fighting now against corporations and our life, and not just our life, but everybody's life, from the waters to the air to the food to the land to even our minds, of how, we're poisoned with all these political understandings and these news outlets and these teachings that corrupt our mind and that pit us against each other, and that cause dilemmas and cause dogmas and cause fights amongst us as the people, God's children. And so in that time, I really understood that what it means to defend the earth and to stand for the earth and to fight for the earth. And so then I decided to come back and be with my mom's side of the family, which is the Peomaquichem, or what people know as Liseño. But the Peomaquichem means people of the West, or Western people. And we had our own ways of living here. We had our own songs, our dances, our medicines, our structures that we use to pray, to get better, to heal, to help with the sick, whatever it may be. And so coming back, getting connected, with the medicine, my mother was the one who showed me our rock and expressed of how our people do medicine, and we come from this, and our people have always done this to help ourselves in bad times and in good times. And so I end up going up atop to this rock, and I look up, and then there's mushrooms on it, there's animals, there's different things, and all of a sudden it makes sense, because from the moment I've been doing medicine, earth-based medicine, I feel a strong connection to that medicine, and a strong connection to Creator and Mother Earth through that medicine. And growing up in the Bible and whatnot, if you've ever if you ever read the original stories of the Bible before Jesus' time and whatnot, God never came to those people as a man. You read the burning bush, you read different things of how different people encounter God. It was through, different things, whether I tell people you could hit your head, you could be fasting, or you could be taking some kind of earth-based medicine or something that was amongst those lines to communicate with God. And growing up, I've always, kind of heard that some of these things are bad and you should only go to God through the way the Bible tells you, and how Christianity is through Jesus and through salvation, and only through, Jesus, Lord, Jesus Christ, our Lord, our Savior, is our only way to get to heaven, get to God, and to dwell within the happiness of God. That's the only way. And so just coming into that understanding and seeing how these medicines have really pushed that boundary, because like I said, I've been through Catholicism, Christianity, and it's not to talk about anything bad, because I know there's people who find Jesus and they find God and they find happiness, through these ways of living and understanding. But as far as me being an indigenous man and coming from the original people, because I always say Christian people, the originality of Christians does not stem from this part of the hemisphere of this earth. Meaning, if you go back far enough in time, there was never a Christian here in America. There was no such thing as the Bible. There was no such thing as any of that here. That stuff is very new here compared to indigenous teachings and wisdoms and knowledge and understanding. And so in that moment, of joining that quest of knowledge for God and that dedication to God, it led me here to my church to Church of the People for Creator Mother Earth. Because like I said, we've helped over 200 people as far as providing our church services to people and giving people the space to reconnect and grow and understand in a spiritual sense and a ceremonial sense of who they are, and the way that God kind of wants to communicate with them in their own way, and to me, I find that very beautiful and very powerful, because a lot of places kind of don't want to have people excel or to go beyond these teachings, and I feel like they did that. It's kind of like a hierarchy system to where you're only going to know what you're going to know, and then the higher ups are going to know what they're going to know, and then the ones above them are going to know what they're going to know. But the thing about that is, I feel they don't ever want you to know what they want to know, or they don't want you to get past what they know. And I feel like with Church of the People for Creator Mother Earth, through these teachings of the Pale Maquitchium, the Wamkish, these earth-based sacraments, it's all tied in to God, Creator Mother Earth. Like I said, we like to expand ourselves amongst God as a whole. I always tell you, you go back long enough, there was not no pews. There was not no King James Version Bibles. There was no choirs. There was no glass panes where the light comes in really nice. There was people on the earth, and not just natives. All walks of life of people. All walks of life of people were worshiping the stars, the sun, the moon, the earth, the fire, the rain, the air. And a lot of people will sit there and be like, well, those are like gods. You're creating gods. You're not worshiping God. I beg to differ, because God is everything. God is all. Considering the fact of, our church, when we give praise to necessarily the fire, it's not necessarily giving praise to the fire itself. It's thanking the fire for allowing it to be there through God. Because without God, that fire could never exist. That fire could never communicate to you. That fire could never show you wisdom. That fire could never show you anything without God giving it the blessing that God has given that fire to be, as well as the wind. If that wind was not considered through God, that wind would not be there. Same with the water. If the water was not gone through God first, that water would not be there. Water is life. Water is essential to all creation. It's not necessarily saying water is above all. It's just saying that through water, God has given us life. And God is life. God is water. God is air. God is fire. God is earth. God is me. God is you. God is everything. And that's what I like about Church of the People for Creator Mother Earth. We're not here to separate the two. And that is where I'm thankful to say that God got me here. Creator Mother Earth got me here. I wouldn't want to be no other place, considering that I'm also heavily involved in the psychedelic space. As you all know, psychedelics are getting big. Psychedelic therapy is getting huge. Decriminalization, legalization, billionaires, marketers, patents. It's all flying off the shelves as far as the whole psychedelic industry and the movement. I'm also affiliated with Decriminalized Nature. I am a board member of Decriminalized Nature. And just being a part of this organization and seeing the circles that I've seen and been a part of, that's one thing that is not communicated enough, is the spirit. And that is also why I wanted to say God got me here. Creator got me here. And I can testify that through my work, through my church. I've been with a lot of people of all walks of life and faiths, from NFL veterans, from Special Force, veterans, from active duty Special Force veterans, to UFC veterans, to active fighters, active, everything, active dads, active moms. Every single person I've seen come through this church. And like I said, this psychedelic space is still lacking the spirit of Creator Mother Earth. And it's not to talk bad about anybody. It's just to say that is the truth of why we're here. That is the truth of why people find their healing here. That is the wholeness of why people get so blown out of their chair here, because this is a space to where we can worship God, in our own way and understand God through these old ways of teaching. And I can testify that myself just by the work, like I said, where I've been, I've had calls from HBO, from Viceland. We just recently did a piece with CBS Sports back in February. It's not necessarily about us. It was about Ricky Williams and his advocacy and his work and his understandings with psychedelics and mental health. But the fact of the matter was that we made that shot and we made that experience happen through what we do, through taking these earth-based sacraments and worshiping God and understanding that God has helped us and God is with us. And I want to continue to emphasize that amongst my work, what I talk about, and who I'm with, because the truth is, God got me here. Creator and Mother Earth got me here. And there's no in between. That is straight facts. My work has been through earth-based sacraments and getting connected to Creator and Mother Earth through that earth-based sacraments. I wanted to discuss a little bit about how, God is affiliated with those mushrooms. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a damn religious expert or anything, but I do operate a church. I do have a faith that is based within God and these medicines and these teachings. And I've shared it with many walks of life and have seen people understand this message or understand this teaching of, God is here, and through everything and through these medicines we can communicate with God and ask God for help and ask God for forgiveness and understandings and teachings and give us the strength to move forward and to leave all that other stuff behind and look forward to life and creation and beautiful things. And that's what Church of the People for Creator Mother Earth is about. It's about learning about Creator Mother Earth, releasing all that other stuff, and getting with the program of rebuilding yourself from the earth up and understanding that God, Mother Earth, Creator are all good and that we're here for a good reason and that we need to take care of each other, watch over each other, and help each other along the journey. But as much as easy as that sounds, it's not the way it is due to the fact of how a lot of people in this space, they're operating off of money, greed, ignorance, selfishness, and just pure idiocracy. And I mean that because I've seen a lot of people out there, even people that have come here, necessarily not fall off the wagon, but fall off the course of wanting to help people in a good way. For some reason, when people find out there's going to be money involved or so-and-so is going to be there or this opportunity is going to pop up, sometimes it just goes to shit. And you know what? At the end of the day, I don't care. We're beyond this whole thing of patents and legalization. We don't need anybody to tell us our God-given right. It's our God-given right to pray to God and to see what it is faithful to find out about God. And I'm not condoning anything bad. I'm just saying the fact that this country was built on religious freedom. If everyone else can have their faith, the Native Americans, natives should not be any more or less than that, especially considering that our faiths are some of the oldest ways of worshiping on this part of the earth. We're not saying that it's the whole thing. We're not saying it's everywhere. Just here. And I want to continue to protect that, show that, and give people an outlet to heal and to understand and to feel safe about taking these medicines and understanding that you don't have to be part of the whole circle of corporate manipulation and greed with these psychedelics, because I just know that these guys don't have a real first place for your faith as far as Creator Mother Earth, and you don't have to believe me. Some people like to have fun, some people want to go do this, but at the end of the day, God got me here. I'm thankful, and I'm going to continue to polish these up and continue to speak and let people know that God is real, and it's our right to take these medicines and to pray and to get the help we need with these medicines through Creator Mother Earth. Thank you again. Shane Nordy. Hope everyone has a good day.